children. Today I'm going to read you Caps for Sale. It's one of my favorite books. Caps for Sale. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First he had on his own check cap, then a bunch of gray caps, a bunch of brown caps, a bunch of blue caps, and on the very, very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very, very straight so as not to upset the caps on his head. And as he walked along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street, yelling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps. That morning, nobody even wanted a red cap. He began to feel very, very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said. And he walked out of town, slowly, 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 so as not to upset the caps on his head. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," said he. And he sat down very, very slowly under the tree. And he leaned back by little and against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very, very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep, and he slept for a very long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. Whew. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were all in the right place. But all he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him. There were no caps. He looked to the left of him. There were no caps. He looked in back of him. There were no caps. He looked behind the tree. There were no caps. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or brown or blue or red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said to them, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler very angry, so he shook both his hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their hands back and said, "Tss, tss, tss, tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Oh no. By this time the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both his feet and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Oh, he was very, very angry now. At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap, he threw it on the ground, and he began to walk away. Well, by then each monkey pulled off his cap. And all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps and the red caps came flying down out of the tree and onto the ground. So the peddler picked up his caps, and he put them back on his head. First his own check cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very, very top. And Slowly, 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 he walked back into town calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" I hope you enjoyed the story, children.